Welcome to Learn English Journey. Today we are going to explore a story unlike any you have ever heard before. It takes us back thousands of years, long before anyone imagined pumpkins, costumes, or candy. Before haunted houses and trick-or-treating existed, people gathered under the stars beside great bonfires, wearing animal skins to confuse and scare away wandering spirits. On those ancient nights, they believed that the souls of the dead could move freely across the earth. What you are about to hear is not a myth or a legend. It is the true story behind what eventually became known as Halloween. This is the real origin of a celebration that so many people enjoy today. It is a story filled with ancient traditions, mysterious rituals, and deep spiritual meaning. It shows how a simple harvest festival slowly transformed into what we now call the spookiest night of the year. But do not worry, this is not just a history lesson. It is also a perfect opportunity for you to practice and improve your English in a natural and engaging way. If your goal is to strengthen your English skills, to understand better, to expand your vocabulary, and to speak with more confidence, then this story is for you. I will speak clearly and slowly, using emotional expression and simple, everyday English. You will enjoy a fascinating historical journey while naturally developing your fluency. Think of it as learning through an adventure that will completely change how you see Halloween. Once you finish this story, you will never look at October 31st the same way again. Let's begin. Part 1. The Origins of Halloween. Our story starts more than 2,000 years ago, not in the United States, not in movie studios, and not in city streets filled with decorations, but in ancient lands covered in mist and forests. It began in the territories we now know as Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and parts of northern France. These were the homelands of the Celts, a people deeply connected to nature and to the rhythms of the universe. They had no modern distractions, no phones, no electricity, no social media. What they had was the wind, the fire, the moon, and an unshakable belief that everything in nature was alive with spiritual energy. Among all the days of the year, one night stood above the rest. October 31st, the night of Samhain, pronounced Samhain. Samhain marked the Celtic New Year's Eve. While we begin our new year in January, they celebrated the turning point at the end of October, when the harvest ended and the cold, dark winter began. It was a time associated with death and renewal. The Celts believed that on this single evening, the barrier between the living and the spirit world grew thin and transparent. On the night of Samhain, they believed that ancestors, spirits, and even dark forces could cross into the human world. It was a night of both great danger and great magic, a moment when the invisible world touched the visible one. To protect themselves, people performed sacred fire rituals, wore disguises to confuse wandering spirits, and left offerings of food outside their homes to keep peace with the unseen world. Part 2. The Blending of Traditions. As the Roman Empire expanded into Celtic lands, something remarkable happened. Their traditions began to merge. The Romans had their own day to honor the dead, called Feralia, which took place at the end of October. They also celebrated Pomona, the goddess of fruit and abundance, whose sacred symbol was the apple. From her festival came the custom of apple bobbing, a playful game that once symbolized fertility and good fortune. When these cultures met, three traditions blended together: Samhain, Feralia, and Pomona. The Celtic belief in spirits, the Roman reverence for the dead, and the celebration of harvest and fruitfulness all united to form something new and deeply symbolic. Part 3. The Christian Transformation. By the 4th century, the Christian Church began to spread across Europe and wanted to replace old pagan practices. Instead of banning them, the Church transformed them. In the 7th century, it introduced All Saints' Day, also called All Hallows' Day, celebrated on November 1st to honor holy men and women. Later, All Souls' Day was added on November 2nd, a time to pray for the souls of the departed. These days together formed what was called Hallowmas. October 31st became All Hallows' Eve, November 1st became All Saints' Day, and November 2nd became All Souls' Day. From the words All Hallows' Eve came the name we know today, Halloween. Even after these changes, the old ways did not disappear. People still lit bonfires, wore disguises, and believed the dead could visit the living. In many villages, Christian prayers and ancient rituals existed side by side. People attended church during the day and celebrated by firelight at night. Although the festival spread across much of Europe, it remained strongest in Ireland and Scotland. When Irish and Scottish immigrants crossed the ocean to America during the 1800s, they carried their Halloween customs with them. Part 4. From Europe to America. In earlier centuries, Halloween was filled with meaningful traditions. One of the oldest was the soul cake. This was the first version of trick-or-treating. Poor families and children went door to door, singing hymns and praying for the dead in exchange for small spiced cakes decorated with crosses. Another custom was the turnip lantern. Long before pumpkins were used, people in Ireland carved faces into large turnips and placed candles inside to frighten away evil spirits. These glowing faces were the ancestors of the modern jack-o'-lanterns. There were also playful traditions about love and destiny. People peeled apples in one long strip and tossed them over their shoulders to reveal the first letter of a future lover's name. Others gazed into mirrors by candlelight, hoping to glimpse their future partner. Halloween became a night of mystery, fortune-telling, and dreams that seemed to connect this world to the next. During the Great Potato Famine, millions of Irish people left their homeland and moved to America. They carried their faith, music, and beloved traditions with them. In the New World, Halloween began to change again. By the late 19th century, children started playing pranks on Halloween night. Communities soon encouraged organized parades, games, and family gatherings to make the holiday safer and happier. From this came the custom we know today as trick-or-treating. By the mid-1900s, Halloween had become a joyful, family-centered celebration. Neighborhoods were filled with parades, costume contests, and of course, candy. Companies saw a golden opportunity, and Halloween quickly became one of the biggest candy-selling holidays in America. Part 5. Legends and Symbols. The story of the jack-o'-lantern comes from an Irish legend about a man named Stingy Jack. He tricked the devil and was doomed to wander the earth forever with a single burning coal inside a hollowed-out turnip to light his path. When the Irish arrived in America, they found that pumpkins were larger and easier to carve, and so the pumpkin lantern replaced the turnip forever. Costumes also evolved. The Celts once wore animal skins to hide from spirits, but in America, costumes became creative and fun. Children dressed as ghosts, witches, and monsters. Adults joined the celebration too, using the night to laugh, play, and become whoever they wanted to be. Halloween became a celebration of imagination and transformation. As the 20th century progressed, haunted houses and horror movies added excitement and suspense to the season. Films like Halloween, Friday the 13th, and A Nightmare on Elm Street made October the month of fear and thrill. Halloween was no longer only for children. It became a night for everyone to experience the joy of safe scares and shared imagination. Part 6. Witches, Myths, and Meaning. Long ago, the image of the witch was not one of evil. In ancient villages, wise women acted as healers and guides, using herbs and knowledge of the stars. But as organized religion grew stronger, these women were accused of dark magic and became targets of persecution. Between the 1400s and 1700s, thousands were tortured and killed in witch hunts across Europe and America, including the infamous Salem trials. The broom, once a symbol of domestic life, became a symbol of independence and power. The black cat, sacred in ancient Egypt, later became a symbol of bad luck in medieval Europe. Legends of vampires, werewolves, and ghosts reflected people's deepest fears: death, loss of control, and unfinished stories. Through these myths, people learned to face fear by turning it into story and symbol. That transformation of fear into creativity is the true spirit of Halloween. Part 7. Modern Fears and Global Traditions. Even in modern times, new fears have appeared in the form of urban legends, like the rumor of poisoned candy. In truth, such cases are almost non-existent. But the stories reveal how easily fear spreads through imagination and rumor. Around the world, many cultures celebrate this same season with love and remembrance instead of fear. In Mexico, Dia de los Muertos honors loved ones with colorful altars, flowers, and music. In Japan, Obon is a calm, spiritual festival that welcomes the spirits of ancestors. Across Europe, All Saints and All Souls Days are moments of prayer and reflection. These traditions all share the same message: to remember those who came before us. Part 8. Halloween Today. Today, Halloween is a global celebration of creativity, imagination, and community. In the United States alone, people spend more than $12 billion every year. Costumes for children, adults, and even pets fill stores and streets. Homes are decorated with glowing pumpkins, skeletons, and spooky lights. Candy, decorations, haunted attractions, and parties turn October into a month-long festival of color and excitement. But beyond the fun and the costumes, Halloween reminds us of something timeless. It connects us to our ancestors, to our fears, and to our creativity. It shows how humanity transforms darkness into beauty, fear into laughter, and endings into new beginnings. From sacred bonfires to city parades, from ancient rituals to modern celebrations, the story of Halloween is the story of people finding light in the dark. And now that you know the real history behind it, you are part of that story too. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for growing. Happy Halloween.